leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News at 6.
This is voter suppression at its worst.
The head of the Democratic National Committee slams Republicans over wanting to hold last week's election. The results from Tuesday's vote are coming in now. The state's unemployment claims are growing by the day, why you could be missing out on an extra $600. And the Brewers are selling a social distancing T-shirt. The M and B on the logo are now separated. How you can get one. First at 6, Commitment 2020 coverage nearly a week after Wisconsin opened the polls during a pandemic. Election results are coming in. 12 News' Matt Smith is live at the Milwaukee County Courthouse tonight. Matt, before any numbers came out, Governor Tony Evers said earlier today all of this will be resolved in court.
Yeah, Patrick, and one group of voters already filed a lawsuit in Madison this afternoon. The campaigns are watching these results very closely. The parties are watching these results very closely. This is where they're coming in Milwaukee County on the monitor behind me. That is ground zero in terms of the projections coming in. Let's get to those results. Milwaukee Mayor, we are still awaiting our first results, and I'll tell you why here in a second. 0% reporting at this point. The county at this hour, at this moment, is putting those results in from the city. They have been delivered here. I saw that process happen. What's going to happen is we're going to see a large uptick in just a matter of minutes because they're working to count absentee ballots along with those who voted in person at the ballots. County Executive, 28% reporting. David Crowley with the lead, 51% to Chris Larson's 49%. Still awaiting the city of Milwaukee for those Milwaukee County results. Let's take a look at the state Supreme Court race. This is one that is receiving a lot of national attention and, of course, a lot of attention across the state. With 36% of precincts reporting, we are at a dead tie, 50-50 in terms of percentages. Daniel Kelly, 50%. His challenger, Jill Karofsky, 50%. So as we sit here, Patrick, we wait for the Milwaukee results to really impact what we're seeing in Milwaukee County in the state Supreme Court race. We saw some of Dane County's numbers come in the last few minutes, and that helped fluctuate. We're going to see the same once the city of Milwaukee begins reporting their results.
Well, let's talk about Milwaukee for a second, Matt. When can we expect to see those results come in?
That's a good question. A question everyone in this room. Some election observers are here as they're watching the monitors. They're telling us soon. They are literally, as we speak, putting those results in, and they want to have a clear picture. This is the reason, because of so many absentee ballots. They were processing and counting and working on that all throughout the week in terms of those absentee ballots. The Election Commission met this afternoon, but they want to have a clear picture once those precincts start reporting that is the number. We don't get to 100% and then have to count these absentee ballots. So that is what they're waiting on.
Right, more than 77,000 absentee ballots return in Milwaukee. Matt, thank you. Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race the day after Wisconsin voted. Today, Sanders announced he's backing Joe Biden. Here are the results so far. Joe Biden has been declared the winner over Bernie Sanders in Wisconsin. And we are updating election results as we get them in the 12 News mobile app. Once you download the app, make sure you turn on the alerts so you know when the latest numbers are in. The chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez, blasted Wisconsin GOP leaders today for wanting the state to hold in-person voting during a pandemic.
It was voter suppression on steroids because it was putting people's lives in danger.
12 News' Ken Wainscott joins us live now. Ken, Perez is already hinting at possible legal challenges.
Yeah, that's right, Patrick. Even before the vote counting began, DNC Chair Tom Perez and the Wisconsin Democratic Party chairman said they'd already been talking with lawyers and were considering all of their legal options. And Perez also called for expanded mail-in voting in the November election, but said voting by mail should not be the only option. And he called out Wisconsin Republicans for supporting an election that he says disenfranchised countless voters and should have been postponed.
This is voter suppression at its worst because people's lives are put in jeopardy. That is not who we are. Whatever happened to Wisconsin nice? This is Wisconsin at its worst.
Ken, did Perez say anything about the Democratic National Convention this summer and talk of a possible virtual convention?
Not much. He ended the conference before addressing any of those questions that had been written in, submitted by reporters. He did say at one point during his comments that the party is proud to be holding its convention in Milwaukee, even though it had to be postponed until August.
Ken Wayne Scott reporting live in Milwaukee tonight. Wisconsin reports more than 3,400 coronavirus cases across the state and 156 deaths. 94 of those deaths are in Milwaukee County. Today, state health leaders said there is good news about the number of cases in the state.
That we have actually seen a decrease in the exponential growth as a result of safer at home. We are flattening the curve.
There is concern the state could soon see the first people getting sick from in-person voting last week. The median incubation period is just over 5 days. 12 News' Terry Sater joins us now live. Terry, you asked state health officials today how they're tracking in-person voting cases.
And Patrick, we've been monitoring a social distancing scoreboard. The state says anyone infected with coronavirus last Tuesday won't likely start showing symptoms until later this week or early next week. And that's when researchers can start tracing back to see if those who are infected got sick from voting in person.
Just line up, follow the X.
12 News video documented people standing in long lines waiting to vote Tuesday. State health officials warned about the impact.
In-person voting would, without question, accelerate the transmission of COVID-19 and increase the number of cases.
So nearly a week later, the people who voted after waiting in line are now waiting to see if they'll pay the ultimate price.
And an increase in the number of cases in Wisconsin would result in more deaths.
Unicast is a company that tracks people based on their cell phone data. The company created an online social distancing scoreboard and gave Milwaukee and Waukesha counties an F for social distancing on Election Day. I asked the chief medical officer with the State Department of Health how they'll find out if people got sick with coronavirus from voting in person. How will the state track the spread of COVID-19 from in-person voting last week, and what are your expectations given the lines that we witnessed?
The method for detecting all cases is the same. Every time there's a symptomatic case that has a test and is diagnosed and confirmed to have COVID-19, they're contacted by local public health and do an interview about their exposure history. That means exposures to other people or to public settings.
Terry, have they seen any signs that people are already sick from in-person voting?
Patrick, the state officials say it's just too early for the science to prove anything yet, from incubation to showing symptoms. It'll take a couple of weeks before they can start figuring it out, Patrick.
They're watching. Terry Sater reporting live tonight. Wisconsin lawmakers plan to vote on a state coronavirus response bill tomorrow in Madison. They'll do it during a first-of-its-kind virtual session because of the pandemic. The legislative proposal is 87 pages. A prior version gave the GOP-controlled Budget Committee the power to make any cuts in spending that it wanted. Governor Tony Evers opposed that. The latest version of the bill does not include that provision. If you're unemployed in Wisconsin, you could be missing out on an extra $600. 12 News' Sarah Tamer joins us now live. Sarah, you spoke with one woman who has some concerns.
I did, Patrick. And in March, Congress expanded unemployment benefits to add $600 to each paycheck. But because Wisconsin has a one-week waiting period, those without jobs could miss out. Deborah Leggett is a food service worker in the Waukesha School District. She's one of millions feeling the impact of COVID-19.
I was guessing we would be back today after Easter. I figured we'd only be off for a month.
Leggett says she's running out of time and money.
I had money in my account that would cover, say, spring break. So after our first week off, that exhausted my unemployment benefits, and then I was not able to reapply for unemployment benefits until yesterday, April 12th.
She says she was relieved to learn Congress was adding an extra $600 to each week she didn't work, but quickly learned how a Wisconsin law could leave her $600 short.
I kind of was getting concerned as to, well, where's the extension of benefits that we were told that we were going to have? And I found out that Wisconsin was not eligible for the extension of benefits because Wisconsin has a one-week waiting period.
Leggett wrote a letter to Senator Tammy Baldwin, and Baldwin responded. This reimbursement is only available to states that do not require a waiting week. Because Wisconsin law requires claimants to wait a week before they can receive benefits, a growing number of jobless Wisconsinites are not eligible for this federal assistance.
Do you feel like you've been misled?
Yes. It affects other people that are on unemployment too, that rely on unemployment, that have more of a need. And those people need to have that money, and those people need that $600.
Sarah, will there be any changes to the 1 week waiting period?
Well, Patrick, state legislators are supposed to be meeting this week to discuss waiving that 1 week waiting period. If legislation passes, people could get that $600 back sometime in the future.
Stay on the story. Sarah Tamer reporting live in Milwaukee. New unemployment claims in Wisconsin ballooned when compared to this time last year. Look at the numbers on your screen. The state says the nearly 18,000 new applications filed last year pales in comparison to the 313,000 filed this year between March 15th and April 6th. A Delavan restaurant is helping people who are struggling to put food on the table. What began with the owner buying 150 frozen turkeys for families grew into much more. Photojournalist Ivan Lazarevich takes us there.
We're in trouble. We need to help people.
We go!
Sorry, there's the milk. And I thought this year we're going to do something that we can sort of help a lot of families. I purchased 150 turkeys, just one pallet of pork sausage links. We have some hams, maybe 25, 30 hams. A lot of the local businesses are like, we want to help. We want to give. Everybody just came together. The whole community. We're a strong community, and we're going to make it.
Good to go. Good to go. Almost. Now you're good to go. Now you're good to go. Good to go. Right.
And keep in mind, the WISN 12 and Hunger Task Force online food drive continues tonight. So far, you've helped us raise more than $300,000. That money will help fill 4,000 boxes with an emergency food supply for families in need. If you'd like to contribute, we've posted a link at WISN.com. Well, it's nice to see the sun, but it is cold and it's windy out there, and Mark will drop to the 20s tonight.
I like that 300,000 number a lot better than I like my
Than the number behind you?
The number behind me is not nearly as nice. 27 is the low, and I'm going to reinforce this over the next couple of nights because some of you have some flowers that have started blooming. Let's go over what's in trouble, what's in not. Now, I haven't seen many tulips, but I've seen a lot of daffodils out there. Daffodils, they're strong, but if it gets down to like 25, you get a hard freeze, you could really be causing some trouble. So you probably want to cover those up tonight, tomorrow night, as well as Wednesday night. So your crocuses and snowdrops, no need. Those are really strong. You're going to be okay. Live look outside. Beautiful to have the sunshine. Sunset tonight at 7:32, but it's going to get colder and colder. Again, dropping back down to the 20s. How long we're going to stay chilly when our temperatures finally start to warm back up to the 50s coming up in Weather Watch 12.
All right, thank you, Mark. There is new video of a rollover crash at a Milwaukee gas station. It happened just after 6 last night near Sherman Boulevard and Fond du Lac Avenue. Police say they were responding to another call when the car ran a red light, rolled and slammed into a parked SUV. The driver crawled out and ran. Officers arrested the 23-year-old and took him to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No one was inside that parked SUV. We do have some breaking news we want to go to. Results have come in the race for Milwaukee mayor. At the top of this newscast, no results were reported. Now, with 100% of those results in, Mayor Tom Barrett defeats Lena Taylor. 63 to 37% is what it shows there with those results just coming in. We'll check in with Matt Smith coming up in just a moment. Also ahead at 6, the VA's online pandemic plan. What changes you need to know about before you file a claim. And pushing back the baseball season, while UW-Milwaukee's head coach says it will take years to get back on track.